Shalom kolom. Hey everybody, Josh back here for Leviticus 1:6. I have separated the verse into two clauses, and let's go ahead and look at the text together. Of course, I will read it in Hebrew, and then we will begin translating and parsing. Beginning in the first clause. Vehifshit et heola, vanitchak ochal lintecha, lintechecha. That and then the hey is a little challenging to pronunciate for us English speakers. So beginning in verse 1 again, or in the first clause rather, we're in verse 6, but first clause, Behifshit et heola. Notice we have here again a hefil, there's our verb right there. Actually, let me go ahead and just mark our subject and verb, and then we have our direct object marker et with our noun heola. Here, let me go ahead and parse our first verb. Again, subject, verb, and then our direct object. We have a hefil. Notice we have a ve katal, and again, this marks it's essentially something sequential. This continues our verse. Verse 6 continues the thoughts we have seen in verses really 2 through 5. Ve katal, it's a third masculine singular. Again, we know it's a hefil because you have the hey prefix, you have the hirek, and then typically what you'll see is some type of schwa, not always, but hefil, hirik, and then always a hirik yud. So if you see a hey with a hirik yud, that separates your second consonant and third consonant, you probably have a hefil. And then you have the word peshit there, and this literally means to strip off or something of that regard, to strip. And so what we have here again is it's a third masculine singular. The worshiper is and he shall strip. And notice we have the et heolah. This is the direct object, so this is the thing that's receiving the action. And he shall strip the, again, we know it's the because we have the he article, and it lengthens because you have the guttural ayin. He shall strip the burnt offering. He shall strip the burnt offering. We move to the second clause, and notice we have our verb again, v'nircha, and here this is a very interesting morphology because you do have the noon here followed by a hirik. This may look a little challenging at first just because we do know that nifals begin with nifal, katal verbs begin with the noon, but here I think just what we have is a pl, again a ve katal, third masculine singular, from the word natak, and this means to cut, There's a few reasons we can see that. So first, let's look at the vowels. So notice we have a hirik and then a patak. PLs in the katal or in the perfect are going to typically have a hirik and then a patak. So for example, if I have the word katal and it's in a PL, it's typically going to look something like, write that out, I'm going to have typically a hirik followed by a patak and then a dagesh in the second consonant. And the reason it's a patak as opposed to a seri is I believe it's the Philippi's law, which simply states that I-class vowels in, I believe it's something with I-class vowels become A-class vowels when there's like an unaccented second consonant, something along that regard. But anyways, the fact that this isn't clearly an active verb as opposed to a passive verb, followed by the hirik, the dagesh, and the patak tell us this is most likely a PL. And also, what furthers this is we have the word natak here that occurs in the preposition. So it just seems as if the emphasis here is on the tri-consonant natak. Anyways, so this would be translated as, and he shall cut, he shall cut, he shall cut. Notice we have our direct object here, I want to make sure I match it, ota, and this is etz, plus our third feminine singular pronominal suffix. The reason it's a third feminine singular is because its antecedent, ola, is feminine. He shall cut it, that is the burnt offering. He shall cut it, which refers back to the burnt offering. Two, notice the lamed preposition. Here we have a noun masculine singular. Here, noun masculine singular from the word natak, rather, not noun masculine singular, noun masculine plural. And we know it's a noun masculine plural because typically, if you see a yud that separates the noun between the pronominal suffix, then it's typically plural, not always, but typically. So we have something like he shall cut it, to pieces, something along that line. He shall cut it into, we'll just say cut it into pieces of it. A little tricky to say in English, so literally just, and he shall cut it into pieces, or cut it into her pieces. We don't really translate it that way in English, so likely I'll just stick with, and he shall cut it into pieces, and you don't really need the of it, the third feminine singular pronominal suffix there as well. Notice again the difference when you have the third feminine singular there. That's in a singular word, as opposed to here where you have it with a plural verb. So all right, y'all, let me retranslate that. And he shall strip the burnt offering, and he shall cut it into pieces. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. God bless.